And so every time we offer something for them, they come and they learn. They want to be their child's most important educator. And that's what we want to have happen as well. And again, we have a long way to go to where we need to be, but this has been huge for us, and it's been huge for our faculty and staff as well. The parents now have the ability to take advantage of a number of courses that Bridges offers. We have everything from GED to language acquisition courses. We have, oh, I just got an alarm to do something. I think take a cough drop maybe, I don't know. Excuse me. Sorry about that, I just popped up there, I didn't know what to do. So I'm still in the 20th century, I can't help it. Anyway, we offer computer classes, we offer financial planning classes, we offer cooking and sewing classes, we have parenting classes, a variety of things. Again, the idea is to open the doors for our parents, make them welcome, and make them be part of their child's education. Offer them everything they can to know that this is a place you don't run from, this is a place you come to. We have an unbelievable mentoring program now as part of our Bridges program. And this has also had a phenomenal impact on our kids, and on our families, and on our teachers. Because what happens is we find a child who's really struggling, and it could be academically and it could be socially. But we find a child who's struggling, we refer them to our mentoring program. The child gets someone who's going to care about them and talk with them and help them take some of those rough edges off. And we see that occurring in the classroom. The teachers feel a difference. The teachers now have another outlet to go to. When the child begins to struggle, they can talk to mom and dad, but they now can talk to mentor as well. All right? So there's so many ways that this helps our children. It's absolutely phenomenal. And again, this is not me. This is what everybody else is doing. I'm just sitting there taking the ride in. This is awesome. Bridges, I think, works alone by itself. It can, and it does in the other places. I think schools are starting to understand that Bridges is there and they're using those services. But our Bridges, we're lucky that it's right on our campus. And the fact that it works well is because not only do we have the obvious buy-in of the staff of Bridges, but our faculty and staff buys into it as well. Just to give you an example of how it works, a parent comes in for a parent conference. And that by itself, saying that is amazing, because our first couple of years, it was a struggle to get parents into conferences. And it's not easy now, but it's a whole lot easier than it used to be. So a parent comes in for a parent conference, and during the conference, we're talking to a student, say, about an academic issue. But let's say during the conference, the parent says, you know, we're getting evicted this week, and we're starting to pack up and getting ready to move. Well, the teacher pulls out a Bridges referral form and begins to fill out information as the parents are talking during the conference. It's just a regular part of our conference. And so when the conference is over, the teacher then hands a Bridges referral form to the parent and says, go down to that building, hand this paper over to the folks down at Bridges, and they're going to help you. All right? And that's the basics of how it works. And so not only do the parents get extra help, but there's also now an extra feeling of trust between teacher and parent. Because this teacher, out of nowhere, helped this parent out. And all the teacher had to do was fill out a form and point the person in the right direction. That's huge. All right, so all these pieces are incredible. The other thing that's really cool is that the idea of Bridges is to open our doors and offer the Bridges so people can come through them. And our faculty and staff has taken this. You can see it all over the place. I was fortunate enough to have a group come visit us there. And they saw part of what I'm talking about. But we have now a music program that's second to none. And we had nothing at one time. But this is because the faculty and staff want this. We now have we have two bands, an advanced and a basic band. We have a chorus, we have world drumming, we have a handbell choir that, I guess today they were pretty good, weren't they? And the thing that was really cool, I thought it was great, because they messed up while they were playing, and he stopped to make them do it over again. And I was like, yeah, go get them. Anyway, We have clubs like you wouldn't believe. We were walking down the hall and I pointed out that there's a mural in the hall outside of my office. It's made by our mural club. But we have a dance club. We have a 21st century club that works on everything from academics to physical fitness. We have the Highland Social Club, which is, it sounds really like, oh, we're going to go up there and shoot the breeze for a while. But it actually is, and it's an oral language club, where these kids, and we went into a room where I think there were 8 children, and 7 of them were Guatemalan Mayan, and they were talking in English, and they were having conversations about jobs, so they have to do research. You know, again, the kids want to be in this club. For this club, if I were a kid and you said, what are you going to do? You're going to do research and all this? When I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, I'd forget that. You know? These kids want to be in this. It's awesome. It's absolutely amazing. So 9 years later, that SAC meeting with 5 people now averages about 75 parents. We've had up as many as 150, actually more than that on a couple of occasions. So we regularly have these folks coming in. And again, you know, I think I've worked in positions where I've been to other SAC meetings at other schools, and you know, we're right up there with other schools. There's a high degree of involvement now that 9 years ago you would never have seen. Never. In case you haven't figured it out, I'm pretty proud of what we do. And when I say Highland, I mean Bridges. And when I say Bridges, I mean Highland. I want to wrap up my talk by relating to you a couple things. This might be a downer, I hope not, but relating to you a couple of items that I read this weekend. One was a study by Professor Sean Reardon. I don't know who he is, but I like Sean because that's my son's name. But he's a professor at Stanford University. And he did a study with his students that talked about the disparity in education, or the education gap between the upper class and the middle class and the lower class. And what they found was that we have all known that there's a huge gap between the upper and middle class and the lower class. But as of the last 10 years, that started to change. And as the disparity in economy went between the middle and the upper class, so was there a disparity between the education or the performance of students in the middle and upper classes, to the extent where the middle class is beginning to perform similarly to the lower income levels. And this is a pretty scary thought. And it has gotten worse as the gap has grown. The other thing that I read, and I'm going to read this to you. It was, on Friday of last week, I had a couple parents that came from a conference. And they came down, they were all upset. They were not going to go home until they saw me. And they said, we have to do something about this place our kids live in. And we were talking about it. We were like brainstorming ideas of what we can do about this. And then Sunday, one of the 2 teachers sent me an online review of this place that we're talking about. Now, we've been there. We do outreach at that place. We went out there 2 weeks ago on a Saturday to meet with parents, and we had about 5 show up, which I thought was pretty good in the start. But it's a tough place. But I didn't realize it until I read this, and I'm going to read it to you. The worst place in Palm Beach County to live, probably the worst place in Florida. Black mold so bad it will get your whole family sick. Wood rot upstairs and down. Major disrepair of all appliances and stairways. Horrible bed bug infestation along with rats, feral cats, rabid raccoons, and ants of all kinds in the apartments, in capital letters. Not to mention drug dealing, all and around, and everything else that you don't want your kids to be involved in. Now, I'm not reading this to you to garner sympathy for our kids or our families or our school. I'm reading this to you because this is our reality. We all have this issue. This isn't the only place like this in our midst. All of us, your kids and my kids, are the kids that are coming from, there's about 150 or 120 to 150 of our kids come from this particular community. Between what we learned from Reardon's study, because what he's saying is more and more and more of those kids are coming down into this every single day. And what that says to me, and I want to finish with you tonight, is that this means that our work is so, so important. What I see what we've done in the little bit that we've been able to do, because we're not nearly there. We've only dealt with 1/4 of our population. But I see the difference. I see what it does. These are the same families that are in that 5th grade class that are doing so well, or the same families that live here and in other places like it. What you're here for tonight is extremely important, and which makes me even more proud to be among them. Thank you, and have a good day.